Hello. Am I alive? I think everybody can hear me. Welcome. Anybody that's out there. I see 3 wonderful viewers, it looks like. Just thought I'd pop in and talk about my trip. See if anybody wanted to ask me questions. Gonna pour myself a little drink. We got a little bit of jet lag. Donna Press, how you doing? I need a glass here. We're gonna get a. You know what? We're gonna use an SMWS or SMWS, an STD glass, Scotch Test Dummies glass. Since they had their anniversary, and I'm gonna pour some cognac in it. Appellation Cognac Grand Champagne Contrôlé, one of 460. Thomas, thank you. I'm glad to be back in some ways and sad not to be. So this is a SMWS cognac. Pretty powerful. We're going to sip it slowly. So you guys are behaving while I was away, hopefully. If not, at least you're having fun. Greeting, Richie. Duncan Harmsworth, pardon me. George. Did you make it home safe, George? You and Amy look like you were having some fun down there. SMWS cognac is good. I was in Scotland, and I did get to drink lots of SMWS at the member-only club. Thanks for having me back. That's crazy. How you doing? I had a great time, man. I had a great time. I wish I had the itinerary in front of me. Probably have it right here on my computer. I could probably find it if I knew how to move some things out of the way. Hold on a sec here. You guys got a little frog on my throat. Yeah, I'm going to pull up this itinerary so I have a better rememory. Does that word even exist? I still am dealing with jet lag, boys. It did not bother me going there, but I'll tell you, it was something else. Well, since I got home, which was only to me yesterday. Hey, Mash and Drum, how you doing, man? Oh, you're stopping off and you're on your way home, George. Well, be safe. Thanks. Who's saying what to where? Man, you guys coming in fast, and the comments are great. So we had a little fun on the trip. Okay, I lied, a little more. I got lots of stuff to do and lots of editing. The first thing was I got, to fly for 7 hours to Iceland. And we had an hour layover there, which really was just waiting to get on a plane for an hour. Iceland's airport is cool and it's pretty efficient, but it's small for what it is doing. Massive layovers from North America going to what do you call it? To Europe, to UK. How many bottles did I bring back? Well, not as many as I should have. I was expecting to be just right to customs, and it wasn't that bad. I forgot I was in a province that has lower taxes than the other ones, and so it wasn't too bad. I came back technically with what do we got here? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 normal size bottles, and then 1, 2, 3, bottles that were smaller that are from. It was that are smaller, and they were kind of special bottles. I got this nifty little bag on my last day in Glasgow, and from a very nice store. I'll explain more to you. You guys just want to know what bottles I got. I got some chocolates. Don't tell anybody that they're probably for Julia. Got some chocolates. Well, you know what? It wasn't that bad, Donner. I mean, there's lots of stuff to do in that little space. In Iceland, I tried to stay an extra day. I was going to stay an extra day in Glasgow and maybe an extra day in Iceland just to check things out. And it was a fortune to change the flight. Anyway, it is what it is. I'll show you guys this after. Cheers to all you guys, and thanks for following me. Well, that cognac is good. Anybody have an SMWS ever? Cognac? This was a leftover heel that they gave me at the Keg and Cork in Edmonton here, which is who we were traveling with. And we were doing some barrel selecting for a store pick or an exclusive. And the price at Customs was $67. Crazy. Hey, buddy. Well, Storo, thank you for having me back. I sure would have liked to have met you over there. There are several people, obviously, I would have liked to have met and hung out with. So when I got off the plane in Glasgow, I'm trying to keep up because we're supposed to meet our tour bus. It's going to take us directly to the Isle of Arran. And who do I see? I'm going to let you guys guess. Who is the person that first handed me whiskey in Glasgow? Not supposed to be there. It was a total guess. Who do you think it was? And I can't believe I'm not opening up one of the bottles he gave me. Right now, I don't know what made me think of pouring a cognac first. No, it wasn't Richie. Was that a guess? Come on, guys. Who was the first person to hand me whiskey? And absolutely right, Donner. Sitting there, I just come through the gate and I look to my left and I'm like, I know that guy. Sitting there wearing his similar hat to this. And bang, comes over, get a big hug. I get nervous all of a sudden. I'm like, oh my God, it's Roy. It would have been kind of freaky if it was Ralph, actually. But yeah, it would have been cool. I'm like, hey, Ralph, nice to meet you. Don't know me from a hole in the ground. But I like motorcycles. And I've never, ever been to the Salt Flats. Anyway, it was Roy. And he handed me 3 sample bottles, which they came very professional. And I had this in my backpack, and it was raining. And they got wet. He gave me 3 bottles. One was drank already, and hopefully it came out okay. We were on our last ferry ride, and myself and Dave, the manager of the liquor store, we hopefully gave it some justice. It was an infinity bottle of Roy's, and that was excellent. Roy had 3 brothers. What? Oh yes, I handed him something. I had more. I should have given him the other box I had too. Probably wouldn't have known what to do with it, but I wanted to hold on to that for the end of the trip. Yes, Roy, did you watch that episode, Duncan, of the virtual reality or virtual pub? Pardon me. Anyway, that was the first thing. Roy was there, and I was very happy to see him. Of course, the people I was traveling with were all there wondering, how do I know somebody in Glasgow? Oh, on the video that he did, yes, that he had 3 identical brothers. Yeah, that was quite cute what he did there. Yep. So I got an infinity bottle sample from him, and I got a Mortlach 16-year-old F&F. No, it wasn't a Longmorn 16, which I would have felt bad taking because I have one stashed away because I like it. Segue here for a second, away from the fact that everybody wants it now, and they probably are saying that because of the Whiskey Tribe, but before the Whiskey Tribe existed, actually the day I met Julia is the day I first bought a bottle of the SM or the Longmorn 16, the original one. Absolutely right, Donner Press. If anybody deserves it, it was him. And I'm glad you see that. I'm quite happy to have given it to him. And this is a Macduff 1995 21-year-old. And he's got SV written on it. I don't know what that means. It's 63% ABV. So those were nice. And there was just so much whiskey, guys, that I didn't have a time. And I had that in my backpack for the trip so that we could share it on our bus, and we just never did. So the first place we ended up was in the Isle of Arran. We had dinner there, and we were staying at a place called the Glen Isle Hotel. Very nice place. Every hotel we stayed in was top notch, give or take. The best the best one was an old hunting lodge. And it was a little different because it was out in the middle of nowhere. Like, it was on a bay, and it was in the middle of nowhere. It was an hour away, minimum, on little narrow roads to the next distillery. It was on the Isle of Mull, and it was a former hunting lodge that the gentleman, Lawrence, was a underwater deep sea diver, and he probably was a welder and all the other tickets you need and use. He bought it, him and his wife, and they were converting it into a hotel. Very nice place. They had some fancy living rooms, very UK-ish. Kevin, how you doing, buddy? Peter White. I tried that Brodoric, am I saying it right, Bay, during the tasting at Arran. You like the new Longmorn? I don't like it. It's nothing like the 16, but that's just another story. Anyway, next morning we get up, have our breakfast. Breakfast is pretty similar to what we have here in North America, but I didn't like scrambled eggs there. For some unknown reason, the scrambled eggs are soggy, right? Hey, Whiskey in the Six, thanks for having me back, buddy. I think matches the one behind Daniel. Oh, I'm not trying to hide you guys, anything from you guys. It's all back there. We'll talk about it. So, first distillery we'll go to is the Isle of Arran. And it's actually, you go out there and you're in farmland. You're in a valley. So you're below the hills and the mountains. It's in a beautiful place. Loch Ranza is the area it's called. We're greeted by a gentleman named David Ferguson. He takes us over to a private house, technically, for the distillery. Is fairly new. And before we go in to do anything, he pours us a whiskey. There's a big whiskey bar, all Arran stuff, all older stuff. Anything we wanted. What do you want to try? Boom, boom, boom. Pours it for us. And we're not even done yet by the time we're ready to walk over to the next place, which is into the visitor area and into the tour guide, who was a nice guy. I believe his name was Al. I'll remember everything because I recorded a lot of it. And we do the typical sit down. They show us a video and stuff, and you can see these videos on their webpage. Actually, on YouTube, there's an Isle of Arran YouTube you can subscribe to, which is great because they talk about their new distillery, Lag, which will come up here in a minute. We do the tour, we come back, and we get to go to the warehouse, 2 warehouses. And first thing you see when you walk into that warehouse is a barrel that says Ewan McGregor's name on it. And below it says Prince Charles. So they got quite a few barrels that are specific people. And I have all pictures and videos for this stuff. And I'm going to learn how to edit and make some nice videos, and I'll post them. It'll give me a good thing to do and learn how to do this stuff so I can improve this channel. And then James McTaggart comes out, who is the master distiller for Arran. And he pulls out 2 samples out of a barrel. One is, yes, I hope she's going to help me edit. Although I think I need to do some learning on my own there. Anyway, he pulls out these samples, and he's got the big pump. But he didn't pick easy ones to get to either. They're actually under other barrels. I got a nice video of him trying to pull one of the bungs out. That was pretty cool. I hope all my videos work, but I watched some of them, and sometimes the camera would shut off for no reason at all. I left my... I had to dump a bag out into my luggage to give Roy his bottles at the airport. And I had some new SD cards that are a little higher end. And I had to keep using these old SD cards. Fortunately, I had a spare camera that had an extra one in it. And download everything onto my computer every night. Yeah, you might have seen some of her influence on there, buddy, because it was last minute. That was done like the day before I was leaving for Scotland. So she's very good at it, yeah. Crown Royal. Or Crown Royal. Why did I just say that when I'm drinking SMWS cognac? Anyway, I'm glad you guys liked that tribute. The one that the Scotch 4 Dummies did was nice too, but they just took the end of our videos and edited it together so that he had the right amount of time for things, right? Anyway, we're going to keep it a little more simple. I won't try to over-explain everything. So the very first, you want to know the very first bottle I bought? Anybody? Come on, you can type faster than that. I do. The first one, and I think somebody in the chat recommended that I buy this, but I'd already made my mind up to buy it. And since Rob's here, he's going to help me say this word the right way. This is done in an ex-Sazakhaya barrel, which is a rare, expensive wine from France, I'm told. And it's the Wee Double by Billy and Jim. I think it's Jim Swan, is it? And I forget Billy's name, last name. Focus, you donkey of a camera. Focus. There it is. Yeah, you'll know all 7 bottles. You little bossy guys in California. Hey, you like that hat? Thanks. Anyway, this was my favorite. It's 60%, 60.2% alcohol. It's 10 years old. Now, there was a couple others. One that they mentioned. That, who mentioned it? The Broddock Bay. But I didn't buy that because I'm going to be able to buy it here. It's available here already. I think even Rob's got one already. So I bought ones that were distillery exclusives only. From a private cask, only 285 bottles. That's the stuff I like to get a hold of. Because you know what? No matter what, this is rare, right? You cannot reproduce this. That was from the first distillery. Now, maybe Royal talk it. Maybe I have a picture of it. Before we left, this never happened. But someone might have handed me an entire bottle right out of the barrel and put it in my backpack. They might have. So for the rest of the trip, we might have had a bottle of 19-year-old sherry cask whiskey. Might have, right? I didn't bring any open bottles back with me. Didn't want to deal with what they might say, which now I would have. I would have brought back way more bottles, guys. Anyway, that was very nice of someone to do. I was told not to say anything. I got a few secrets I got to keep, but that might have happened. It is beautiful whiskey, Alter. Abelor Abunde. Has anyone tried the batch 3 and how it compares to batch 2? Of which? What batches are we talking about? Oh, Tamdu batch 2. Is it out? Batch 3? Okay, what else did you want to see? The second distillery we went to. Anybody know what that was? Well, first of all, we got stuck on the Isle of Arran for an extra day. Hey, Louis. We got stuck because of a storm. Callum was coming through, and the winds, there was some bad weather on the Isle of Arran, and I'm glad that I brought a very nice raincoat, a very expensive one, but my lovely sweet Julia spotted it, and it was like 80% off, this Gore-Tex coat. But the day we got there, it was sunny as could be. It's La Bomba shape, Duncan Harmsworth. That's what they call that bottle. So, excuse me, we got stuck there an extra day. So, the distillery manager said, I'll take you guys out to see Lag Distillery. So, Isle of Arran, or Arran Distillery, they are building a new distillery on the opposite end of the island. And we got to see it. Under construction. All the stills are in there. They're still covered in their plastic. No windows in. The wind's blowing everywhere because the storm's coming in. But it was something to see, and I cannot wait to go back. If I go back to Scotland, I guarantee I will be going to the Isle of Arran for sure, just so I can go to the Lag Distillery. So Lag will be making its own spirit. It'll be a heavier liquid, and it will be 50 ppm peated whiskey. And it was gorgeous. I can't wait to edit that video and or check out what I have. I'm kicking myself. I didn't take one picture with my cell phone to share on other social media. So I could have emailed some pictures, but anyway, it is cool. He took us through. He was the only one that came out, and he took all 7 of us through the whole thing, showed us where his office would be, even though he'll still be running both of them, basically. Took us to his office, took us through where the visitor center would be. Like, it's a big building on this beautiful hill looking right over the ocean, and the roof is diagonal a bit, and it is going to be all in grass, not like Macallan's, but it is a grass roof again, right? So we got to see that. That was kind of a bonus because we were going to miss a distillery because we had to stay one more day and we weren't going to get a chance. But the other distillery we missed, which might be a bummer to some people, was Oban. But Oban wouldn't get back to them, and there was a bit of a difficult communication getting a detailed plan of when we could come and do our tour, right? So, yeah, I was a little bummed out that we were missing one distillery, but we actually got to see a second one, even though it was still in construction. I liked it, and Mr. McTaggart was a great host. Too bad he didn't bring the key to the brand new and fully completed warehouses they have built. So the Lag warehouses already have whiskey in them from Arran, because Arran was running out of space. And that's primarily why they built Lag. They had tried to buy some more land from the neighboring farmer, but he wanted way too much money. And they just said, well, go over here. And they bought some land over there, and they're building a full distillery. It's great. Yeah, Oban would be cool to see. I would have appreciated that. We drove through Oban, but I didn't see the distillery. So then where did we go? Oh, yes. I don't understand why I only bought this one little bottle there. Well, I didn't buy one little bottle. I got this. I got that. And I got that. And I don't know if I bought that there or not. Maybe not. So the next distillery is the oldest one we went to. And they still do everything old there. We got to walk through everything. We even got to open up the spirit safe because there's no lock on it, man. And I think it's probably one of my favorite ones, to go back to That's Crazy's question, is what your favorite one was. And just because it's doing things the same way they did back in the late 1800s. And that is Springbank in Campbelltown. The tour guide, Melanie, is phenomenal. She took us through everywhere. She took us right over to where they were already drying peat by hand. They have an electric rake, but they still have the rake that they drag through the peat to roll it. We even walked through it. We could pick it up off the floor and eat it. It was phenomenal. It's like eating the freshest cereal I've ever had. So, and I got a bung from there. She's like, anyone want a bung? And tossed it to each one of us here. So this is a Springbank bung. Just smells like a piece of wood, but it's from Springbank. It's kind of cool. And then they took us into the Cadenheads, the whiskey shop in Campbelltown. And there was whiskeys coming out of your yin yang there. You can be there forever. This is one of the first negative things I'll say about the trip, is that we were rushed. We're like, come on, we got to go, because we had to catch several ferries. And if you weren't at the ferry early enough, you might miss it. So we were, and because we were a day behind, we were rushing to be able to get over to the Isle of Mull, which was our next trip. But I bought this from a living barrel. You get to sign it. I signed it with my first name and Throttle. You just call me Throttle. It was bottled on the 13th. It's 56.3%. And it is double distilled from the Glengyle Distillery of Campbelltown. And I bought it because we were also drinking it before. So this is a special little bottle. It's only 20 CLs, 200 millimeters. And later on, when I edit the videos, we'll find out more what it was all about. Although I was having camera problems in the store. It kept shutting off for no reason. But I have a picture of it being poured. It is great. We went into, actually, you know what? We can count that as another distillery. So we went into Springbank, and then we walked a path right to Kilkerran. Even got to see the clock tower that the Kilkerran's based on. It also wasn't in operation at the moment, which was great. That hardly any of them were actually in operation. That's what allowed me to have my camera in those areas so much. But they only operate Springbank for 6 months and then Kilkerran for another 6 months, right? And the owner he's a millionaire, but he is thrifty. They share different pieces of tools for the thief at Kilkerran versus not the thief, but the spirit safe. But man, it was so cool, man, to be in both of them. They had very little stuff that was modern. I would like to meet that kind of an owner that likes to keep things as original as possible, right? Am I boring everybody out there? Or are you just being patient to see what whiskeys came back? Where did we go after that? I just told you. I have a bottle of that Kilkerran 8 cast strength. I haven't opened it yet to answer your question, but I got it because I heard it was pretty good. Not great. That's another topic we'll talk about later. So we made it to the Isle of Mull, and then we made it to Tiroran, Tyrone House. Tyrone House, it was getting dark. It was dusk when we first got on the road. To slow down because there were cows in the way. There were sheep everywhere. Now they moved a little bit better than the cows. The cows kind of looked at you like, well, what do you want me to do, man? There's no room. He had to kind of, the guy driving, the Scotsman, kept, he had to move, give it a little burst, and the cows were like, oh, okay, to get out of the freaking way. So we get to this place in the dark because you can't see. There's a road that way, and this, like, with a gate that actually has the name on it. We're like, okay. And he's like, well, he went up the other way and thought maybe he could turn around or see what was going on, but he was like, well, that must be the entrance that said it. So he tries to back down the road, and we're in a big touring van, right? Well, I tell you something, by the end of it, by the time we got in through this gate, it was pitch black till you got to the house. Similar to the bison in Yellowstone, yeah. And all you could smell was clutch. And I felt bad for that. And of course, there were a couple ladies on the trip, and they kept, what? I'm like, just bite it, because that guy is stressed out, and let him drive, man. A couple of us got out and tried to help back him up. Anyway, we got in there, and there were a couple couples already there staying in a hotel. They invited us in. They gave us our room keys. You didn't even need a room key. You didn't lock your door on this because it's an old house, man. Go up, and it's got some cool little spooky paintings, I asked who the paintings were. It turns out that it was the owner's mother-in-law on one of them, so good thing I asked. There was a painting in my room of some woman sitting, like, on the bay with a Saint Bernard beside her, and it was just weird. I think I'll have a picture or a video of it, but I felt like she was staring at me all night long while I was sleeping in this Victorian style room. Oh, they named the rooms after different plants or something. Mine was the lavender room, and I'm like, what the heck? It was a little weird that way, but beautiful little place, right? So which Jason are you talking to? Is there not Jason Whiskey Wise not in here? He must be sleeping. It's late over there. Oh, Jason from the Mash and Drum. So beautiful, late at night. I mean, couldn't really sleep. Went outside, used your cell phones as a flashlight. Had you walk on the grass there, and it was like walking on sponge, this mossy grass. And it had been raining the whole time there, but it had cleared up, but it was laid out. Walk up, and you walk through this fence. It's all beautiful stuff. Couldn't really see everything. And then the morning you came out, and you could just see the water all the way across to the other side. And it was gorgeous. I got pictures of it and videos of it, and all that stuff will be edited for each distillery we go to. I'll break it down that way. I don't think they'll be as long as the some. I just want to make it enjoyable to watch. So then we went to Tobermory, which is a beautiful little town. Has an interesting story about how a man painted his house a different color. And he was waiting to hear from the city council about, you can't paint that. But the next week, a house across the way in the bay was painted a different color. And that continued. And to this day, you go there, and all around this one little bay, there's a different painted house of each area, or each row house. There's shops in them now and so forth. It was gorgeous, man. It was great. We get there and there's a whole bunch of cars, all race cars, like rally cars. So there had been a rally race somewhere in that area, which is a big thing in those areas because they're doing it right on the main roads. And so usually those roads are blocked off. We would have been hooped, right? Hey, Santa Cruz, and how you doing, man? Thanks for coming in. Just talking about my trip. So we went to the Tobermory Distillery and Tobermory and Lechig, which, again, they are not operating right now because their mash tuns are being replaced, or they're hoping to replace them soon. But the historical building they're in, they don't know how they can actually do it yet. If they're going to try to take them in pieces, or they're going to open them up, the roof, and drop them in there. But they need to replace them. They're wore out too much. The wood is thinned out too much. When you fill it full of that liquid, if that decided to let go, it could be a problem for the little area. So we were there. The guy that was doing the whole the tour, Gary, tiny little guy, and he's an ambassador for a sister company, and I forget the name now. Anyway, he'd been out all night long. He'd been out till 3 a.m. and had to come and do this thing. So he had some interesting stories to tell. Some of them related to whiskey, some of them not. It was a hoot, and you got to take the thief, and it was one of the ones that I guess you prime it, you pump it, and then you plug the end, you pull it out, and you hold the end, and you actually pour from the end that's not in the barrel. The tube comes up at a little 45-degree angle. Anyway, we got to try 3 different barrels there, which we will reveal them later. They call it warehouse 1, which is kind of funny because they only have one warehouse, and it was a small warehouse. Most of their stuff is shipped somewhere else. And there's some interesting inside information about that stuff too that I'll share in my upcoming videos, I hope. Especially when you're dealing with companies that sell you bottled water. Oh, where did I move them? Oh, up here. Bottled water from the source. It's kind of interesting. So there, the first barrel we were drinking from, first thing he gave us was spirit, new make spirit from Tobermory. That stuff will take the paint off. And then we had this 53.4 Oloroso Cask 2004 bottle in 2018. And I bought a little bottle of it, of the cask. It was good stuff. Unchill filtered, fresh out of the barrel. Got some video of it. And then, they had so many bottles inside there, man. And there were other people that weren't on the tour coming in to buy stuff. We were just inundated people. And I mean, there were some great guys there. Gary was talking to us. There was a lady from the US of A that works for them. She'd married a guy from Scotland, and they live there, right? So anyway, I ended up getting that Lechig that I just showed you, and this Lechig because, well, the sample I got of it, I just liked it. Lechig American Oak, 16-year-old. It is an exclusive only to that store. 55.8% ABV. No whiskey. Yeah, Lechig does. It's very interesting. And it is, I mean, I'm a peat. I like peat, but as I've said before, I wouldn't call myself a peat head. Anyway, I like this 16-year-old American oak, virgin oak cask finish. So virgin oak cask finish. right? There's 546 bottles. This is bottle number 87. They even gave me a choice of high numbers or low numbers. So that was cool. Another exclusive in that little bottle. Oh, and I was going to buy some of these other things from them. Because I got to, think of my poor Julia. So second regret is not bringing Julia with me. It is. I bought a bar of soap that is made with Eric Gilbert. What is total hot garbage? Being controversial again? No, I'm not cracking open any. Well, maybe a Roy sample. Maybe we can be talked into that. This is a whiskey glycerin soap bar made with the whiskey from the Tobermory. So that might be for Julia. They threw in, I was looking at it, and they just threw in a pewter Tobermory pin, which I thought was cool. And a Tobermory shot glass. This one is, well, it's probably 1 ounce. And almost every little bar I went to on the island had shot glasses like these of different sizes. I just want to focus, you knuckleheaded. Why doesn't it want to focus here? Anyway, it just has this Tobermory symbol on it. And that was cool. They just chucked them in the bag. Same thing. They did the same thing at Caden's Head with a little Caden Head's keychain in Campbelltown. You're getting very sleepy. Sounds like a cast strength Lacheg 16-year-old, correct? Yes, it is. Cast strength Lacheg 16-year-old virgin oak finish. It is it's not overly peaty, not the ones I've tried. Well, wash my mouth. So yeah, this is exactly what it's for. I'm drinking cognac from the SMWS. If anybody cares. Oh yeah, well. Total hot garbage is Tobermory. I don't know, man. It was pretty cool. So far, my favorite distiller. Well, I really liked going to Lag, which is still being built. And I really enjoyed Springbank because how old it is. I mean, Dave got to even bring back a big chunk of peat. He was a little worried about going into customs with it. But man, customs was totally different than I remember when I came back from Cuba. But that might have been who I was traveling with too. So from there we went. Where did we go to from there? I'm trying to remember here, guys. The Isle of Arran, Glengyle Distillery, which is Campbell. Springbank. Oh yeah, we were supposed to go to Oban. We skipped it and went to Tobermory, and then come on, you hunk of junk, move up for me. And then we went to Ardmurchan. Anybody ever heard of that? A single barrel cast strength 15-year-old cognac. That would be very nice, Louis. From K&L Wines. I don't know who they are. So it must be an exclusive barrel or exclusive store pick. K&L Wines. Anyway, next one was a small little place called Adelphi, which is the Ardmurchan Distillery, and that was wicked. The guy met us there. He had a how do you pronounce Elon Musk's car? Telsa. Took us into their first of all, took us back. It is a very environmentally clean, self-sufficient distillery. They burn wood chips from around the neighborhood. Telsa, yeah, thank you, buddy. He had that backed up and plugged in. It's got the Ardemurchan right across the hood. It had something I was supposed to take a picture of, and I forgot to on the back. Kicking myself in the ass for that. We were a little rushed in the first few days because of the ferries, man. Ardemurchan. Thank you very much, Travis. Jet lag still hanging in here. It's not a distillery you've heard of because Adelphi is an independent bottler, and they now have their own stills, and they are making their own spirit. So we have it over here. And it has the Dancing Man on it, as you can see in my t-shirt right here, or right there. Can't really see it on the t-shirt very well. I was excited to be there, yes. They're a very good independent bottler. So this here is 2016's Spirit. It has been colored already, or not colored, but it has been aged somewhat, but less than 3 years. And actually, it is really good. Longer formation. Also, when we were there, we were inside the warehouse. We come out, and the truck with their barley just showed up and was unloading it. I can't wait for you guys to see that part of the video. That was cool. Anyway, this is their Spirit. They took us in there. One of the fun parts is, and I don't know how I brought it up, the about Jim McEwen. Something he said made me think of it, and he took me over to 2 barrels that I actually George S. Grant, because one of the bottles, one of the barrels there has a very unique note on it, which you'll see later in a video. That's from Glenfarclas. And it wasn't the whiskey they gave them a Glenfarclas barrel that they had been using. And it said, written on there, that it is a proper cask. It was quite funny, actually. Yes, it was Alex Bruce that took us around. He is a beauty, man. And, hey, Sneerson, thanks for having me back, man. So they have... We're on the bottom floor of their warehouse, and I asked how many barrels were in there. He says, well, 2,000 or so. And then he takes us up the stairs after we come out and see this giant truck dumping pounds and pounds and pounds of grain into a small little thing that's going through a hopper and getting lifted up into their storage bins. Don Holland, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming in. Sneerson. Anyway, they upstairs, I mean, the smell when you walk in, the angel share that is in the air of sherry and just, I'm like, I can understand a guy could get a little dizzy inhaling in these warehouses. And I skipped right over the Springbank warehouse and stuff, but you're going to see the video. I mean, that girl had a list on her cell phone of what each barrel was. In this dirt floor warehouse at Springbank was phenomenal. So at Adelphi, their bottom one is dirt, and then of course upstairs it's concrete floor. But just the aroma. I wish the camera, other than our reactions, if I caught any of that, is it's just phenomenal. The aroma in a warehouse full of aging whiskey is something else, man. Nope, none of that Macallan crap. It's a proper sherry cask from Glenfarclas. This is a picture of the Dancing Man that they use on their bottles. There's a story behind it, which I can't remember at this time. Maybe it's written in this notebook. I bought this for my buddy. He's a notebook kind of guy and a pen. Very nice stuff. Very nice distillery. Can't wait to share the rest of the video with you. What I bought from them, I know it's going to sound a little funny, but it was the one I liked. Out of the ones after we did all the warehouse stuff, we did a tasting. We did a tasting out of the cask, straight from the cask. And then we went into their nice little visitor area, and they have a nice bar in there, and they poured us some stuff. And you know what, Richie? That's what I'm going to drink. He gave me a wee sample, probably a half an ounce. You know what, though? I don't want to pour this right now because I don't remember the bottle. All I remember is they had no bottles to buy. The cask was empty. They had a bottle that was 3/4 full, and he poured me this little wee dram to take a sample home in of, right? So I'm going to hold on to that one. Really like the 25. There was an old one. Liquor Hound is a great beauty in both of them. Our Armagnac, that spirit hardly any talks. I was drinking Armagnac at the SMWS Vault in Edinburgh, which was like, well, 3 days ago now. That was it. It was good. I got the t-shirt there. I got that bottle of whiskey. The one I just showed you, which I didn't tell you what it was. Hey, Dram dude, how's it going? We're just talking about my trip to Scotland. I bought another Lecheg. It's an 11-year-old. It's 60% ABV. Come on, what's wrong with this thing today? Gonna take this thing right out or what? But it was, and there's only 252 of these bottles. 63.3. 11-year-old Lecheg. Good stuff. And exclusive as well from the store only. Anybody drinking anything else that we haven't had listed yet? I'm still sipping on this cognac, which I'm about to finish. That's some good stuff. How long we've been chatting, guys? Anybody know? 52 minutes. We'll do a little more. Dan, we have a 20-year-old single cask Lecheg landing in a few weeks. You're awesome. You are awesome, buddy. You're sipping on a Carnmore Fetter King. Oh, really? That would be interesting. I've only had their regular release when it first came out. Okay. So where did I go after this? Does anybody know? I think I do. I'm trying to remember where it went. Let's go up here. The Isle of Mull. Art of Merchant. Oh, you guys. Excuse me. I don't have any bottles from this distillery. I have a nice review in their mixing, blending lab, office, whatever you want to call it. It was Morrison and Mackay. And our dear friend, the Edmonton Scotch Club. Yes, the only one I've tried is the Fior. Little harsher. Morrison and Mackay does not have a visitor center. And it is, they have a brand new distillery. Bob Dylan, I'm just a lonesome hobo. Right on, buddy. Yeah, I don't know. She's busy, man. She had to do some editing. She had some photo shoots. And I think, well, she's working for the post office. I think there's going to be a strike tomorrow or something, Canadian Post Office, so don't hold on to your mail. My liver, well, I did that 5-day fast before I went, Sneerson, and so my liver was ready and up to it. And when I first got there, of course, I ate very light and very nice food. You got some very fresh stuff coming. It was awesome. I might have some more space down on the bottom. I got a couple spots. I can move a motorcycle helmet out of the way. I got this cask up here to remove. We can make room. We can make room. I might have to start drinking and doing some stuff with some bottles. Wow, the room's not that cramped. Come on, maybe I just need to lose weight. So, Morrison and Mackay. I have my notes written down. Oh, wait a minute. I have them right here on my phone. I haven't got organized yet, guys, since I got here. But here's what we tried. It was the first place that said I couldn't have the camera operating in certain areas. But we had 5 barrels to choose from. Now, we also got to meet this cool cat, older fella, but man, was he cool. He had tartan Converse sneakers on. If I could ever find a pair of those, I'm going to get a pair, because he says I'll never, ever, 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 ever be able to find them again. They were one-offs and so on, but I need to find a pair of these Converse tartans. I don't know what you're talking about, Travis. Anyway, the youngest one they had was an 8-year-old, and it was a Benrinus. We had a warthead, they call it, which is one of the ones where they put a tablespoon or a teaspoon of another whiskey in it, so it's no longer that whiskey. And that was a 21-year-old Glenfiddich. There was a Kalila. I can't remember the age of it now, but I think it was in the age area of 20. There was a Tamdu. It was 21 years old, and it was finished in bourbon, 52% ABV, and an Invergordon. The Invergordon was 46 years old, and it was phenomenal. And that's it. Oh, and then Bob Kyle, we went back into their boardroom. When we first got there, they took us into the boardroom. They had fancy deli sandwiches laid out. They went and got us tea, coffee. I jokingly said something about beer. They brought us in some beer. Hoping I took a picture of it. Some of it was Innocent Gun, but then it was a different company in a glass bottle that used to own Innocent Gun. Innocent Gun bought them. So when you open it up, it was like drinking an Innocent Gun, like their lager. If you guys haven't tried Innocent Gun, start with the original. It's Scottish whiskey. It's aged in oak barrels. Actually, now they're saying it's ex-bourbon barrels. So it's aged in whiskey barrels, right, for 47 days, depending on which one you get. I see it as an awesome thing. Anyway, we went in there, and Bob Kyle, who is Rare Drams, okay, Travis can make a comment in here to anybody. I don't know if they can, the guys in the States or wherever they are can actually look up some stuff about Rare Drams. Rare Drams is Carnmore, which I have up here, several of them. They're very, very good. Awesome. And now that I met these guys, Peter Mackay and Paul or Bob Kyle, the reason they get this beautiful, yes, it is an old single grain, but anyway, these guys get the selections that they're getting and the history they have. Peter Mackay's father is Peter's boss, and he started in the whiskey industry when he was 17 years old. And the man's got to be in his, I'm guessing, late 60s, right? And he wasn't there. I haven't met him. But anyway, and their distillery is immaculate. It's probably the most modern distillery we had to see, and it was great. So we went back into that boardroom, and they had 6 more bottles for us to sample from. And I'm telling you, it was awesome. But I was like, I need to drink some water. I need to eat some more. You got any more of these sandwiches? I mean, we'd already done a tour for an hour and a half or so. So we did all that. And they took us into our hotel, which is another immaculate house, all stone outside. And we're in, I think it was Fort Williams is where we were staying. Beautiful little town. So Peter came by and picked us up in a cab. And actually, he came to the hotel and we walked in the cab. Sorry, we were in Perth, which the feeling I get is that Perth was really like a center point for Scotch in Scotland back in the day, right? We stayed at a place called the Springbank Hotel. It's probably right up there as one of the nicest hotels we stayed in. Went there, took us to the Lord something, this phenomenal hotel, and treated us to dinner. First, we stopped at a pub. We all ordered cask ale, so real ale, the one they got to pump it out of the cask to get it to you. Treated us like royalty. It was just phenomenal. These guys, the Mackays, they're great, man. Yeah, you can't. We were in their bottling area. They had a 1968 Glenrothes that I need to beg them to get me a bottle of. It's from a different bottler, but maybe you can help me out, Travis. Rare Drams is the company that Bob's owns. They import whiskeys into BC and Alberta only. They import Morrison and Mackay, Hunter Lang, Douglas Lang products, but in Alberta, mostly Morrison and Mackay. That is true. So there were 2 or 3 cases of a 1968 Glenrothes. I never even got to see one out of the box, but I want one. So we need to ask Bob Kyle if he can. And Bob lives in Glasgow now, and we never ran into him in Glasgow, but that was something I wanted to do, was stay another day in Glasgow. I have not seen Scallywag anywhere, or have I? I don't know. Oh, guys, I'm getting tired. Anyway, so I covered all the ones that distillery-wise that we went to here. Our next trip was to Edinburgh. Now, the thing in Edinburgh is, as a member of the SMWS, and I remembered to bring my SMWS membership card. You'll get a kick out of this one, Travis. I was the only one that brought their SMWS membership card. And so, there are videos. I took lots of videos in the vault. The vault is the beginning. It's 35 years old, and it's in like a 400-year-old building. So we got a taxi. Immediately, he said the vault, these taxi drivers down there are so well trained to know their city and historical spots and so on. Anyway, he took us right to the vault, pulls into this little back alley, and drove us up. Or then you get out and you walk up these stairways, and you walk in, and there's a girl sitting at a desk. She's like, "Hi, guys, can I help you?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm a member." And I pull out my card. Of course, the guy with me, he didn't have his membership card, so I had to sign him in as a guest. It was kind of cool. I mean, I've been a member for a few years, and to be able to actually go there and visit it was awesome. If you beg them, they let you in. Ha! I don't think she was going to let him in. No way. Now, our dear friends Rob and Kelly were there, who are the people that import the SMWS and have the rights for the SMWS in Canada. they were in there already with Dave. And they had the dinner and so forth. Kelly, it was very nice that she even showed up because she was sick. So they're there, and there is beautiful bottles everywhere. And there were some, they were like 20% off, and there were some really good deals, but there were ones, you know, I had them. There were actually several grains. I got grain whiskey coming out of my yin yang now over these years. The age-stated Lang vatted malts just showing up. Well, that's good, because my favorite one we tried in the Morrison Mackay office was a 46-year-old vatted grain blend, which they can't call it vatted anymore, but when it was made, it was vatted. It was called a vatted one. And it's the first time I truly got a chocolate note. It was phenomenal. She has a heart of gold. She's awesome. Anyway, they're in Edinburgh, and they are building a distillery. You believe that there are Canadians building a distillery in Scotland? It's going to be awesome. My little buddy Dave arranged it and got me over there to actually see the building itself. Nothing to be seen inside. It's under construction. They're building pads. They're getting ready to bring in the stills and the washbacks. So it's going to be pretty good. I have a scallywag here somewhere, I swear. I do. So it is available, unless I got it somewhere else. But I'm a big fan of independent bottlers, guys, period. Almost every single one of them. I mean, obviously, I've been with the SMWS for a while. But I like Douglas Lang. I have lots of Douglas Lang stuff here, guys. Duncan Taylor. So if there's any of you that have never experimented with independent bottles, I would. If you get a chance, I would. Here is what I bought at the SMWS. This is from what they call a living cast. They had 2 of them there. And the guys that were working there, the bartenders, they're pretty good. They're very well trained, and they know their material. And the guy told me, he says, I wouldn't buy the other one. Now, we can try. I can try it because my buddy Dave bought one. And it's only a little bottle, 35 CL. This is 11 years old. It is 59.3%. And it is cast number R9.3. Does anybody know what that means? R9.3. It is not bingo. You don't like the term blended malt. Seems to confuse people. Vatted malt is proper, or so be it. I like the term vatted malt. I mean, but it doesn't refer. I think vatted malt could be confusing too. It does not explain that it's from more than one distillery. So you could say blended vat malt. I don't know, something like that, vatted malt. A blended malt means that it's only malts, no grain, and that it came from one distillery. I haven't even got there yet, Chris. You just settle down. Pump your brakes. I rode my motorbike today. This is refill Oloroso Sherry. R9.3 means that it is the 9th rum distillery and the 3rd barrel. So this is an Oloroso Sherry finished rum from the SMWS. Right on, right now. So then I went to the other SMWS. Yes, it can be very confusing. There's 2 SMWSs in Edinburgh. One of them is on Queen Street, which is just down from our hotel. And you're very smart, Duncan Hamsworth. The other one is called the Kaleidoscope Whiskey Bar, and it has levels on their floors that for non-members, like a kitchen area and so forth. And then they have private members only rooms upstairs. Again, phenomenal. They had actually more selection there, it looked like, than the vault did itself. Kind of kicking myself for not buying something unique that I couldn't get here. But I was getting worried about having too many bottles, and I needed some time, and I had to go buy a second suitcase to come back, so it would be too heavy. So last day, we go to Edinburgh. We're in Edinburgh. We leave from the SMWS Kaleidoscope Bar and head to Glasgow. It was Thursday, so Roy couldn't meet me because Roy was doing his live. So over I jump to the Pot Still Bar in Glasgow with the guys, meet some cool people in there, and 600 bottles in the bar to pick from, man. We had some pretty good whiskeys. Dave got us some beers. It was great. It was a great place to go. I could have hung out there longer. Then the guys got hungry. They decided they wanted to go eat. So we went to the Horseshoe, which is UK's longest bar. But the food was like North American. You go in there and it was like chicken and ribs. It was kind of weird. Anyway, then they flaked out on me and took off. They went, yeah, we're tired, man. I'm like, what? I'm having a pretty cool conversation with this guy that's local. And then I decided, let's go for a walk. And I went out and walked. I went to the Glasgow Central Station, which is a pretty cool train station there. Chatted a little bit on Roy's live while I was sitting there in Glasgow. Really wished I'd have met the Rev. Roy, I did get to meet, but didn't get to hang out with too long. What else? Well, there's a guy I know from motorcycles. His name's Kenny Graham, lives in Glasgow. We didn't get to meet. And a couple other guys here from the chat. It would have been awesome to meet. Anyway, did that. Took an overly priced taxi back to the airport. And then Roy picked me up in the morning and took me to a place so that I could have some containers for my bottles. And they have some there that they reuse. These are like airbags for your bottles, man. These things are great. They open up. I mean, I guess they just saved these from other ones, but you stick your bottle in there, and that's like, there's no way. Man, it's awesome. And so I got these and protected all my bottles. It was great. And this is the name of the company. The Good Spirit Company, Glasgow. It is awesome. I had to have this. It's a nice little canvas bag. Too bad it didn't have separate pockets in here for your bottles. But anyway, I wanted the bag. It was like 6 pounds. Who cares? Okay. We'll get to this. So I kept trying to buy. Ooh, flaky bastards. Richie, we had a Sovereign Cars Bridge last weekend at the event. Stunning, ranked 1 or 2. Oh, yeah. I wish I was there. Cars Bridge is good. Who wants to know about the bottle in my hand? First of all, I went there and met Roy's buddies. Took us in. I walked around the whole. Yes, it's La Bamba time. Walked around the whole thing. And I started picking up bottles. They had lots of selections. I got to try straight from the barrel Blanton's at a neat little bar on my way home in Edinburgh, walking by, and it's called Nightcap downstairs. It's probably freaking 300 to 500 square foot, as big as it is. And they had bottles of Glenrosses in a case in there, but they were not opening any of them. So I ended up drinking bourbon, right? Carsbridge is closed. My first single grain from the SMWS was a Carsbridge. So I was looking at an 18-year-old Glenrothes there. It was like 100 pounds. And it was pretty good. But then this guy, he was pretty cool to work there. And he says, well, you know, for the money, this Whiskey Makers Edition It's 48.8%, which, Duncan, you were dead on because you know more than you're admitting to it. And it's nice and rich and dark, right? It's matured only in first fill sherry seasoned oak cask bottle at a natural color strength. And it is NAS. But I think he knew more than he was telling me about it, man. I think he knew the age, but legally, they're not allowed to tell you the age. I have quite a Glenrothes collection. Not too many great, like, overly aged things. I have an Ancestors Reserve, which is 25 years old. And I have several Glenrothes independent bottlings, including SMWS. But then I'm looking at something else. I was looking at that Blanton's. They have a Blanton's, which is UK only. And he says, hey, if you like the Glenrothes bottle, why don't you look at this, right? This was cheap. It was under 30 pounds, I think. It is a sherry cask from Berry Brothers. Look at the color on this. Berry Brothers used to own Glenrothes. And so they have quite a bit of Glenrothes stock left, right? So this here is classic range, they call it. It is a 14-year-old and an 8-year-old blended together. And it is all Glenrothes. They just can't call it Glenrothes. But look at that, eh? He says this is a premium daily sipper for the price that it was. And it's got a bottle hole. 2 more. Guys want me to keep going on? Blueberry juice. Yeah. I'm not going to take these out of their bag yet. But I bought this at the duty-free shop. It's a Port Charlotte. And an 8-year-old laddie. 50% ABV, both of them. I don't have a knife, and I hate tearing these. These things get sealed proper when they seal them. Eh? You can't mess around with them. I bought these at the duty-free shop. The guy, I said, man, do you get a discount for buying 2? I got a nice discount. Not bad. And for some reason, and I'll show them later, he reached over the counter and threw in a tartan flask for me. I can't beat that. CC01. No, I don't think it's CC01. No, it's not CC01. It's CC. Oh, you're right. It is CC01. Heavily peated Scotch whiskey. Spirit has been full-term matured in casks of finest French oak, Quercus rhubarb, that previously held one of the greatest French eau de vie from the Western Cognac region. Pretty good, eh? Limited, though. You want to see the secret stash? Where's the secret stash? I spent 30 euros for breakfast. Where was that at? And then oh, really? I didn't know that. Cutty Shark. Hey, My Bourbon Journey. Thanks for having me back, man. This is an aged 8-year laddie. It is unpeated. And I tried some of the other things I wanted there, like, or thought I'd like the Auchentoshan and the like the blood heart, or whatever they call it. Blood oak. There it is. But it just didn't do it for me, man. It was weak. It had no essence to it. So you got to be careful. These travel exclusives can come and go and not mean much. That was sitting on the counter, and I got to try it. And that 50 ABV is brilliant. That 8-year-old was great. It's an exclusive only. And it's going to be enjoyable to drink. So I have some exclusives. I don't know if I'd enjoy them, but we'll give it a shot later on. Anyway, that is what I did. Oh, we got some cool glasses, though. I'll tell you, some of these places went right out of their way. Springbank, this immediately handed you this when you came in. Springbank, it's got Springbank, Longgrove, Hazelburn, and Kilcairn written on it. Campbelltown malts, just a nice little dram, right? Has anyone tried the... no, yeah, I have. That would be a good one. It's a good one. It's actually quite good. I think I like it, Travis. Tobermory. Look at Tobermory gave you. He gave me 2 of them, actually. These were just gifts. We didn't drink out of them. They gave us another one of those glasses like that one, but nothing on it. So that was cool. I think I had 2 of these, and I'm missing one. I also ended up with, look at this, Travis. Travis, did you get one of these? Old Perth blended malt Scotch whiskey. I don't know where that came from. I don't know how I got it, but it's mine now. And it was full of their really sweet liqueur, which I didn't like. I don't like liqueurs. I got a nice... What's going on here? You ain't getting one because that's the only one in Canada. I got it. And this is the only Morrison and Mackay glass I got. I should have filled my pockets full of these. But they were actually, well, I had an extra spot in those airbags that Roy got me. Right? Are you guys watching the Scotch Test Dummies? Because I think they just came on impromptu. I tell you, I would do a whiskey glass review, but who cares? And this little cute thing from Arran. No bulb on the bottom. That one I bought just so I'd have something to drink because they gave us an entire bottle. And that's it. And I have a bottle of Icelandic water. Cool. So guys, we've been over an hour now. I am not doing a glass review. Anybody that can't figure out how to drink whiskey out of a bottle, let alone a glass, does not deserve one. That's just freaking pure silliness. I drink them out of a plastic styrofoam cup if I have to. So anyway, guys, I am going to do some editing and reviews. And I appreciate you guys coming in and listening to me ramble about things. If any came in late, you'll hopefully go back and do a little research or rewatch the thing. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate that. If you're new, hopefully you'll subscribe. I love you guys. I think you're awesome. Need that glass for the bothy. Which bothy? That's one thing that would have been kind of cool is if we had driven by a bothy that we could have all gone in and done a review or something in a bothy. Thank you very much, Travis. Let's get together here soon because I got a whole bunch of sample boxes behind me here, samples that I got to get caught up on. So thank you, Duncan. Appreciate you coming in. Eric, cheers, man. My Bourbon Journey. Santa Cruzin. Richie, thanks for talking me into doing this. Aaron's bothy, yeah. Louis, thank you very much as well. You guys have done a great job keeping me entertained. Don Holland, thank you very much as well. Whiskey Sneerson, if you're still here. Yeah, you know what? I should build a bothy in here. I got the stones. I could just lay them up on the wall. Might be fun. All right, guys. Y'all take care. We'll stop over and say hi to the STDs, see if they're still chatting, recapping their weekend show. If you haven't seen it, Julia and I made a little review on my channel that I just posted. It's like a minute and a half, 2 minutes at the most. Basically, kind of a funny joke about why I cannot remember to call Bart and Scott. So kind of fun there. Everybody, thank you very much. And there'll be more to come from my trip in Scotland. That was just a brief overview. Have a good week. Stay out of trouble.